administration has started imposing recently as a result of its Section 232 investigations and the tariffs that the administration has announced that it will impose as part of Section 301 investigation. In discussing the impact of these tariffs on the U.S. economy and jobs, it is obviously important for us to hear from our stakeholders about the process that the administration has established for finalizing and implementing the tariffs to ensure that they are fair, transparent, and effective. It seems just as obvious to me that in discussing these tariffs, we also need to talk about what these tariffs are intended to accomplish and whether we think the tariffs will be successful in accomplishing their intended goals. It's important to keep in mind that the reasons for both Section 232 and Section 301 investigations that are leading to this discussion about tariffs are China's unfair trade practices that undercut American workers and businesses. The Section 232 investigations determined that global steel and aluminum imports are threatening U.S. national security. Our producers and workers in these two industries have been seriously hurt by global overcapacity and the crisis it has created. It's no secret that China has been the leading driver of this challenge. The Chinese government owns many of the steel firms in China and has provided massive government subsidies to many of the firms that it doesn't outright own. As a result, China has started producing steel and aluminum at a pace that is simply not based on economics and fair competition. China now produces about half of the world's entire supply of steel and single-handedly produces as much steel as the entire world did in 2000. During that same time frame, the U.S. share of global production has been cut in half. China's aggressive state-sponsored economic intervention goes beyond just the steel and aluminum sectors. As USTR Section 301 investigation report has already documented, China's government has used its economic and political leverage over a sustained period of time to extort, force, or outright steal intellectual property and technology from American innovators. I've heard the stories from individual inventors, small businesses, and our largest multinational corporations and our intelligence community about the harmful impact that these IP-related policies have had on the U.S. economy and our national security. Now we are in a situation where the administration has decided to respond to both of these problems, or at least in part, through tariffs. In the case of the Section 232 steel and aluminum tariffs, this logic is pretty direct. The tariffs could, if implemented and designed thoughtfully, bring about a recovery of U.S. steel and aluminum production. In the case of the Section 301 proposed tariffs, the logic is less direct. It seems that for the administration, these tariffs are intended to be used as leverage to bring about changes in China's practices or to recalibrate the U.S.-China trading relationship. In both cases, the tariffs will bring disruption to the U.S. economy, and the tariffs certainly will raise costs for some, disrupt supply chains, and they are also likely to provoke threats of retaliation and real retaliation from countries like China. The key policy question that we are grappling with now is whether the administration has a plan to use these tariffs effectively. It seems to me that after today's hearing, we should seriously consider holding another hearing specifically on China's trade strategy. Look forward to hearing from our witnesses today, and if I could sum up what I think would be a general context of this hearing this morning, I think our goal is pretty clear, and that's to push China to the precipice, but in terms of a trade war, not over the edge. It is but a delicate balancing challenge that we all have. So I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. And without objection, other members' opening statements will